All right, everybody. Thanks for watching my recruiting video for the 2021 KSU Study Abroad program to Japan. I'm going to start off by telling you about the itinerary, the different places that we're going to go, the different things that we're going to see, and then we'll go over some logistics related to the trip. So, our first stop in Japan will be 5 nights in Tokyo. One of the first places that we'll be going in Tokyo is the Samurai Museum in Shinjuku. So this Samurai Museum is actually owned, all of this stuff is owned by a private collector who collected all of these artifacts and decided to build a museum to display it. It's really amazing. They've got all sorts of armor and weapons, and other historical artifacts related to the samurai there. So they do a live demonstration. So there's a person who will do a demonstration of samurai katas, or sword training forms, with actual samurai weapons. They do that every hour on the hour. So that's the first place that we're going to be going. The second place that we're going to be going, while you're in Tokyo, you're going to want to get some good pictures of the city. So you can pay something like $25 a person to go to the Tokyo Skytree and get really good views of the city, or you can go to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, which is totally free. So they have a large observation deck on the 45th floor of this building, and from up there you can get some absolutely spectacular views of the city of Tokyo. So you'll be able to get some nice pictures to take home to show kind of the scale of Tokyo, just how big it is. We will be visiting the Meiji Shrine. So this is the shrine to the Meiji Emperor, who opened up Japan to the rest of the world. We will be going to Ueno Park, where we will visit the Ueno Zoo, which is a really, really interesting thing to do when you go to other countries, especially countries that are really far away, like Japan on the other side of the world. They have all sorts of different animals in their zoo than what we're used to seeing in domestic zoos. So that would be a fun trip. And then also in Ueno Park is the Tokyo National Museum, where they have all sorts of historical artifacts about the history of Japan, dating back, I think the oldest one that I saw at that museum dated back to 3000 BC. So that will give a very interesting perspective on the history of Japan. So our next stop, one of the things that we will be learning about during this trip to Japan is we'll be learning about the two major Japanese religions, which are Buddhism and Shintoism. So this is the entrance to Asakusa, which houses the largest Buddhist temple and the largest Shinto shrine in the city of Tokyo. That's also the home to the 5-story pagoda. We will be going to a kabuki theater and seeing a part of a kabuki play. And then this is the Imperial Garden, so where the Imperial Palace in the heart of Tokyo used to be. The gardens still remain, and you can go and walk around the Imperial Gardens, which to me was a very interesting contrast, because here you're in this place with all this beautiful, lush, green vegetation, and yet in the background you can still see, right, those big skyscrapers and all the glass and steel. So it's a very, very interesting kind of dichotomy to walk around the Imperial Gardens and experience both nature and urban environment at the same time. We will be going to the Tsukiji Fish Market. So can't go to Japan without some sushi, right? The Tsukiji Fish Market is huge. There are all sorts of restaurants and little stalls selling fresh seafood. They sell all sorts of other things too there. Seafood obviously being the biggest one. So you will not have trouble finding sushi. Every other restaurant has fresh sushi. So if you go to Tsukiji Fish Market, you will eat fish caught that morning. Okay? If sushi's not your thing, there are all sorts of other things that you can get there. So you can get soups. There are places that sell cooked seafood. I had a really, really fun time one day walking around Tsukiji Fish Market, and I said, instead of eating sushi, I'm just going to buy little appetizers. And so, you find places selling little fried oysters or seafood on a stick, right? For a very reasonable price, you can just kind of go from place to place and try a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then our last day in Tokyo, we'll be doing a day trip to Mount Fuji. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking the bullet train to here. And then we'll take a bus down to Motohakone and do a pirate ship tour. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in the video, but this is the pirate ship. So we'll do a kind of a lake tour on Lake Ashi there in the pirate ship, and then we will take the cable car from Togendai. We'll have lunch at Togendai, take the cable car to Sanzan, which supposedly has the best views of Mount Fuji for taking pictures. And then back to Tokyo. So that'll be an all-day trip to appreciate Mount Fuji. Here's a better picture of the pirate ship, a little one on the map. Okay, so once we leave Tokyo, we will take the bullet train up to Hakodate, which is the southernmost city on the northern island of Hokkaido. So just after you cross from the main island of Japan, Honshu, up to Hokkaido, the northern island, Hakodate is the first city that you'll encounter at the bottom of the island there. And the first thing that we'll do in Hakodate, we will take a trip up to the top of Mount Hakodate, which is just in the heart of the city there. And as you can see, you can get some really, really amazing views from the top of Mount Hakodate. Our second day, we will travel to Mount Esan, which is a live volcano. So we will actually be hiking Mount Esan with a local guide and talking about the geology of the area, why there are so many volcanoes and earthquakes and all these sorts of things in Japan. So earth science is a big part of the trip. But don't worry, there's no prerequisites or anything. I'm going to make sure that everybody, whether you've never had a science class or whether you're a science major, it doesn't matter. You will be prepared and be able to take in the science aspects of things. We will go to the morning market, which is a large market in Hakodate right by the ocean. And they sell seafood. They sell fruits and vegetables, all sorts of different stuff there. And we will also do a walking tour. Downtown Hakodate has some very, very old churches from the 1400s and 1500s when the missionaries first arrived in Japan. Christianity didn't really survive very well in the main part of Japan, but on Hokkaido, for whatever reason, they were more open to Christianity. And so there are all these old churches and missions from when the missionaries first began to arrive in Japan in the 14 and 1500s. Another part of our earth science-y kind of part of the class, we'll go to the hot springs. Hakodate is famous for its hot springs, and we'll get to enjoy a nice soak in the hot springs while we talk about geothermal energy. Okay, our next trip, our next destination will be Fukushima. So, this is the Environmental Creation Center. So this is a museum that was built to help educate people about the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. What happened? So we're going to go to the museum, we're going to learn about the nuclear disaster, the response that happened afterwards and all of that. And then we will, on our second day in Fukushima, we will travel to Iatate village. So I am a professor in the environmental science program here at KSU, and this is the farming village about 30 kilometers or so from the nuclear power plant. This is where I do my field research. So we will go to Iatate village, we'll travel to a couple of farms in the area, meet with some of the farmers, talk to them about how the fallout from the nuclear disaster has affected them, how it's affected the soil. So I'm a soil scientist. We're going to talk about how it affected the soil and how that has then impacted the farmers, impacted their ability to grow crops there. We will talk with some researchers from universities in Japan who are doing research in that area, learn about some of the research that they're doing to try and help the farmers recover from the results of the nuclear disaster. And then we are on our way for 2 nights in Kyoto, which is another major city in Japan. Kyoto actually used to be the capital of Japan before it was moved to Tokyo. So, while in Kyoto, we will visit the Fushimi Inari Shrine. This is one of the most popular shrines in Kyoto. Kyoto is the city of 1,000 shrines. This is one of the bigger ones. Very cool. I really enjoyed walking around the Fushimi Inari Shrine. We will visit the Nishiki Market, which is basically a giant shopping mall that never ends. I walked around this place for probably about half an hour, and I never found the end of it. And I finally gave up and turned around and went back the way I came. So I have no idea how big this thing actually is. It is enormous. There's actually a church inside the market. That's how big it is. We will visit Nijo Castle. So this is where the feudal lord of Kyoto used to live back when it was the capital of Japan. And we will visit the Ryonji Buddhist Temple, which is home to Japan's most famous Zen garden. So we're going to learn a little bit about Zen gardening as part of our exploration of Japanese culture. We will also have a trip to the International Manga Museum as part of our exploration of Japanese culture. All right, our last stop is we're going to spend 1 night in Hiroshima. So we're going to visit all the important sites in Hiroshima. This is the A-bomb dome. So the atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima exploded a few hundred meters directly above this building. It survived remarkably well, all things considered. This is the Children's Shrine. So you can see there are all these little cases around the shrine. Those are all letters written from children all around the world with prayers for the children who died in the bombing of Hiroshima. And then finally we'll visit the Peace Museum, which is a museum dedicated to the history of the bombing, how the bombing happened, what the aftermath was. So we'll spend some time learning about all of that. And then back to Tokyo for one last night in Tokyo. And the following day, we fly back to the United States. So, a little bit of brass tacks. The program cost right now is being estimated at $2,500. That may go up. We are still working on getting some quotes. So we were just approved recently, and expect these numbers to change a little bit. I'm giving you the best information I can at the moment. What that $2,500 includes is it includes all your hotel stays, it includes all your in-country travel, including the bullet train, it includes entrance costs to all of the museums and attractions and all that stuff, and it includes your travel insurance. The big thing that's being left out of study abroad programs this year is airfare. So the Education Abroad Office has decided not to include airfare in any programs this year. So you're on your own to purchase a plane ticket. I have priced out right now a round-trip, non-stop ticket from Atlanta to Tokyo is about $1,400, which is actually a really good price. It also doesn't include food, and that was purposeful. So I want students to be able to make their own choices about what they want to eat, right? If you decide, I might never be in Japan again, I want to eat sushi every day, that's fine. If you're on a little bit of a tighter budget and you say, oh, maybe I don't want to spend so much on food, then you will have the freedom to make those decisions for yourself. And then obviously, incidentals, if you need aspirin or anything like that, you need travel stuff, that's also not included. So the due date for the application is going to be in February of 2021. The actual application date has not been decided yet, but it will be sometime in February, and you will have to submit a $300 deposit with your application in order to secure a spot on the trip. The first program fee, which will be half of whatever's left, so if the program winds up costing $2,500, after your $300 deposit, you'll still owe $2,200. You'll make a payment of $1,100 at the beginning of March, and then you'll pay the other $1,100 somewhere in the middle of March. As I said, airfare is not included, but the travel agency that is arranging our hotels has offered us a deal on airfare, so if we can get 10 students who are interested in booking airfare through the travel agency, they have quoted me a price of just under $1,200 for that flight. So the only downside to that is the last date to cancel will be January 15th. So once you pay that $1,200 for that plane ticket, if you cancel after January 15th, you can't get that money back. So that's the only downside to booking through the travel agency as opposed to booking. So obviously I can't take any questions because this is a video, but if you have any questions, if you want to know more about the program, you can reach out to me via email. My email is df, as in Frank, ERREI2@kennesaw.edu. Or if you go to the Education Abroad website, you just search Japan. There's not that many people going to Japan. This trip is Earth Science and Culture of Japan. And my contact information, as well as my co-chaperone's contact information, will be listed there. So, I look forward to hearing from tons and tons of you who want to come to Japan. It's going to be a really, really awesome trip. I've been to almost all of the places on this itinerary, and I can tell you firsthand, it is absolutely amazing. You do not want to miss out. So, please get your application submitted. We are only accepting 18 people this time around. So last year we accepted more, but we are a little bit concerned about how good the recruiting will be this year. So we're accepting 18 students. If you want one of those 18 slots, apply sooner rather than later. Don't wait until next year to start applying. Those spots might be taken. That's it. Thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you about this awesome trip in Japan.